In this video, I'm going to show you how to take a tire off the rim. It works as well with aluminum or steel, especially if you're doing scrap. Then you're really not too worried about what happens to the rim. There are two different ways of doing it. You can either use the reciprocating saw, or as it's more commonly called, the sawzall, or you can use a grinder, angle grinder. Depending on what I'm doing with the tire, I prefer to use the angle grinder. I use a very thin cutting blade on it so that it slices through instead of grinding through. Now what you've got to do, if you are going to do this with a tire that is on the rim, you have to be very careful. Because if there's air pressure in it and you start doing this, chances are you can have a little bit of a accident that can result in some injury. So one thing you may want to do is a pair of vice grips, or you can actually use a knife to cut the valve, but I just go up and pull the valve out. If there's any air in it, it'll escape. This tire's been sitting for about 4 years, and the air long ago escaped. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the grinder, and I'm going to cut here. Now by using the grinder, it's going to create a nice smooth edge right through the tread pattern, and where your steel belts are, it's going to make them nice and smooth. And if you have plans for using the tire for something later, like say on the dock, you'll appreciate the nice smooth edge. So here we go. Now you can use the grinder all the way through, which works quite well, but it takes a little bit longer, especially when you get into the bead portion. So the other alternative is to use the reciprocating saw. I've got a hacksaw blade on it with very fine teeth, and it usually goes through the rest quite easily. Now if you want to make a dock tire out of it, this is where you'll end up with something like this, and I don't know if you can see, but there's a lot of beads sticking out, and that's what this did to it. So I'll show you how to avoid that. Well, you'll see avoiding that by cutting with the grinder first, and then using this to go quickly through the rest. It's always best to stop the saw before trying to pull it up, because when you pull it up while it's running, what will happen is the blade will come up, kick into the rim, it'll bend it and try and shoot it back towards you. Not always fun. You know you're through when the bead lets go of the rim quite easy. So that's one side. Let's do the other side. Helps it stand on the rim. I got lucky there. I didn't stop the blade first before pulling it out, and it didn't bang. So as you can see now, it's loose, and I didn't get a good clean cut through this spot with the grinder, so I'll have to redo that. Well, not necessarily redo, but finish it off with the grinder. So, get in there. As you can see, my disc is getting a little small, but essentially, with a good clean disc, you finish it off, and everything comes apart well. So I'm going to try this, and hope that I don't knock up the steel bands too much. When it gets to a point you can actually hold it on the ground. I had it up there to keep everything from binding too much. There we go. So now you've got your rim and tire with a broken bead. I'm just going to get a little bit difficult. There we go.